morning, guys.
What's up, everybody on the YouTube land?
Man, I'm getting a little bit of a tan. Is it for a white spot underneath
Put that
there?
sunscreen on.
I know.
Welcome to South Florida.
Whew. Yeah.
2 weeks on the boat, and it's confessions of rookies.
Oh, yeah.
What a journey it's been.
Yeah.
So we're going to start right from the fresh.
Day one,
we put the boat in the water, and I just assumed I'd be able to tie up right there and kind of figure some stuff out, but no. The marina is jumping. They're loading boats in and out. It's no place to park. People all over the place. Never driven this boat. It was
the first time.
It's not that I can't run a boat, but this thing is heavy, and that external hung rudder, it's a lot. You think you can just put it in gear and idle away. The wind's blowing 25 miles an hour.
Like I said, I wish we would have had a third person filming that day because that was.
Stacy's laughing at me, but I kind of did it on purpose. But I couldn't get the boat to back and turn around, and when I did, it didn't want to go all the way around because now that I know, I was being too gentle with the throttle, and just like our fishing boat, which was a 26 Shamrock, and it has
maybe a little bit of gas.
A full keel. You had to force that boat to do what you wanted it to do, and I just was a little intimidated. But to keep the boat from floating away, I kind of stuck the nose into the bushes on the opposite side of the bank 3 times trying to swing the boat around. I got people yelling from the dock,
telling them how to do it.
Yeah, the wind's blowing crazy, but once I
pull the water.
Once
the rudder closer to you. No, the other way.
Yeah, once I just kind of ignored that a little bit. But the deal is, with the Rafikis, you got to lay that rudder all the way over and give it, and
get it to spin around.
It walks to port just a little bit, but not much. I mean, it's barely noticeable, but you gotta lay on the gas real hard to get it to respond to the rudder, or it's just gonna kind of do what it wants to do, especially in that wind. And then we
fast forward,
moved it over to the transient dock, and we got it tied up, no issues, and
we discovered then we had an
exhaust leak.
So we ran around and
I got little parts and some spare parts and some extra stuff just to kind of try to cover myself so I could repair it along the way, which that wasn't that big a deal. But knowing that going forward, I could have made a new exhaust pipe before we came down to the boat. But it's okay. We got it to where we can get it home, But the motor's running real well. It's not burning any oil. I'm learning more and more about it every day.
A little bit of the transmission stuff.
And it's got a little bit of a rear main tranny leak, and it loses about just under an ounce an hour of running time is what I've got it figured down to. So that's not that big a deal. We suck it out of the bilge with a hand pump and put it in a container. But the boat's dry. We got a couple leaks.
The butterfly hatch where they kind of tried fixing it or something.
Yeah, it's so for a boat almost 50 years old, it's pretty darn dry.
Yeah. Fast forward, we leave the marina, which we showed y'all, and we're going down, and we get to
the lock. That first lock.
Oh, I forgot about the lock.
Yeah, so I hit the wall a little hard. This thing is 30,000 pounds, so once again, not really messing with the motor.
He should have let up off the throttle a long time ago. But it didn't hurt. Still did good.
Yeah, it didn't hurt anything. But if
I didn't have the fender in the right place.
Yeah, Stacy didn't have. If Stacy was holding the fender, she could have mitigated us kind of
smacking it pretty hard.
But it didn't do no damage. It was hard. It sounded worse than what it was.
Yeah, our, what do you call the T-Corral cap?
Yeah, just put a black mark on it. But it
scruffed it pretty hard.
But it didn't, not bad. It isn't even, it's nothing to worry about. But
it's pretty big.
So with that I knew that I wanted to check the oil, check the tranny fluid. So there's like a little tiny tight lagoon looking thing right after the lock. So we went out there and dropped the anchor and messed with that. And I checked the tranny, checked the oil, just checked the motor out, checked the exhaust. And then I was forced in the wind to maneuver the boat around. And now it only took that one time to figure it out. So, you know, I put it in reverse, laid the rudder over, jammed down the throttle, spun that boat around, and we left. Stacy's like, oh.
Did pretty well.
Oh.
Okay, then we get to...
No, well, we're going down the Okeechobee Waterway, and not knowing how they set the depth finder, you know, it's zeroing out. I had to turn the alarm off. And every once in a while, you feel it bumps the bottom. Because, you know, we're 6.5 feet a draft and heavy. And we get, everything's going good. It's windy and cloudy, a little bit of rainy. And we're having just putting along, keeping the RPMs down on the motor, going along about 4.2 knots, something like that. And we're heading into Stewart, and we're looking over at a mooring field. And everything's been going real good.
Andy was boat watching.
I was boat watching.
And got distracted.
And I went to the inside of
a
marker because I couldn't see it because of the dinghy. And boom, ran aground. I'm talking about hard aground. And it was low tide.
And low tide.
And I sat there.
We had a nice fella come over and with his dinghy to try and push us off. But no, that didn't work.
But I knew it wasn't going to work. So I said,
thank you very much for coming over
wait,
to check
we'll
on
wait
us
for the
and
tide.
try.
We'll wait for the tide to come in. And I'll back off. It isn't that big a deal. And I got bored, so I went ahead and called Cito, and Cito come out there, and a lot more went with that. But he actually came back when the boat started to float a little bit.
Yeah, he tried pulling us off. We weren't budging,
no way,
so he had to come back and get us when the tide came in.
So we went over there in a little anchorage right there and spent the night. And
Pendorvis Cove.
Yeah, Pendorvis Cove, right there in Stewart.
This is first night on the boat. We ran aground thing. We get off. We go over to the anchorage, and after everything settled down, we come down in the cockpit. Come downstairs. I do. Andy's still in the cockpit. I said, "Baby, it sounds like sizzling bacon down here." Freaked me out. I'm smelling, looking, going through every nook and cranny, smelling, looking for smoke.
I stayed up most of the night tearing all the battery bank apart.
We didn't sleep good. We're looking, like, oh my gosh,
it
we're
sounded
going
like,
to catch fire.
Like you're positive and negative all the time. I'm like, oh, this is great, because we didn't refit the boat like that. Did the guy do the grounding right? Is the electrolysis eating my prop away? I mean, brand new stuff. I'm like, oh
when
shit.
We got stuck in the ground, it's something good.
I'm like, what's going on? So I'm anxious to get down to clear water to dive on the boat to see what's going on. So we get further down, and then we ended up in, you saw us go through the bridges. And
when we were in Peck Lake.
Then we went to Peck Lake, and it's kind of shallow, but it has an anchor. And there's all these big boats close to the beach, and I just stayed.
Not knowing the area.
Well, you
have to know this little channel.
So I
goes in there to be able to
I park
anchor.
inside the channel markers, but outside of everybody else. And the wind is whipping. It's 25 knots, dead on the nose out of the south. It's just, it's whaling, But, that big old mantis on this boat, when you stick that thing in the ground and put some chain on it, it don't move. It doesn't even move. But anyways.
We dropped anchor. We settle in.
First
thing I check is for the sizzling.
It's sizzling.
It's very faint. It's like a faint sizzling.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh, well, that's because the prop's gone. So in the morning, if it doesn't go forward, we'll know what's up. So we get ready to leave. I turn directly right, and the channel marker is like 30 yards away from me. Boom, ran aground. Just that simple. Low tide, second time. So in the interim of that, like an idiot,
we're like, we're gonna wait on the tide. We drop the dinghy in the water.
Right, drop the dinghy. I boat comes by. We start rocking. I backed off, and then I ran over the dinghy line and wrapped up the prop with the dinghy line. I'm like,
But he was a real champ. He's like, get my mask and snorkel, and when I get in, hand me my knife, and I'm gonna go cut that shit loose. I mean, cut that stuff loose. So he jumped right in, did all that. Then
so I don't have the ladder on the boat, right? And we had a rope ladder I built a long time ago. Well, that don't work.
With our water line and how tall he is, he can grab the rail of the boat, but he can't get in.
You ain't getting in the boat. So
we tried. Then I was like, gosh, I'm glad we put the dinghy in the water. Maybe we can get in the dinghy.
We dropped the anchor again, and Stacy gets in the dinghy. Has never rowed it before at all. And she's got I'm hanging on to the transom, and she rows me.
Well, you can't get in.
I can't get in the dinghy. I can't get in the dinghy.
And our rope ladder is not working out.
It's not working out. So she's got to row me over to the beach at the state park, and a guy comes over and grabbed our rope and towed us over to the beach.
Thank you very much, fella. I didn't get his name, but he was very nice. He's like, just give me your rope and I'll pull you over there, because I was struggling trying to tow this big boy behind the dinghy, and I've never done it before.
The rowing is funny.
And,
she gets 3 good strokes in and spazzes out with the paddles. But we were having a good time. There's no time limit. But an older couple.
After we get back to the boat, they come in, they check on us.
They come over because they saw the name on the boat. And they have a Fantasia 35, and looks similar to ours. They want to know what it was, and they phone rocking away in the anchorage.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Feeling the motion of the ocean. The motion of the ocean.
Ooh. So they come over, introduce themselves.
Yes.
And we asked them.
And Ed, thanks again. That was
so
nice.
we talked about the noise, right? And they're like, oh, those are snapping shrimp. Yes. Snapping shrimp.
So for who don't know, there's snapping shrimp that likes to mess with the bottom of your boat, and it sounds like sizzling bacon or a fire, but
I mean, it's loud. It's it's not like,
if you're not seeing no smoke or smelling anything, it's the shrimp.
Yeah, I'm like, where's my shrimp net? It's snapping shrimp. Never heard of such a thing.
I would have been curious. I'm gonna have to look them up and see what they look like. I don't even know what they look like.
So we get out of Peck Lake and proceed south, and then went straight through a bunch of bridges and a bunch of bump in the bottom.
Oh man, the bridges.
And
bridges can be a little nerve-wracking, especially if it's your first time on the sailboat, and
I mean, if you got a trawler,
timing, their schedule, and
there ain't nothing going on out there.
I know, just watching stuff. Sorry, I'm easily distracted. What can I say?
So we made it down to Phil Foster Park and Riviera Beach.
I love it here.
And that's where the Choi Lee is. So our plan was to get the rest of our stuff off the Choi Lee, and then Chase showed up, and we had a couple of days of goofing around with him, and
making decisions and plans for the next step.
Well, we finally took 2 days off of little projects. Every day is some kind of little project, and we took the last Easter weekend, so we took Stacy snorkeling, which is hilarious. We go over to they have a pretty nice little beach and snorkeling trail
I
here.
gotta get my breathing down. I'm wanting to panic too much or something. I don't know. I gotta get used to it.
And I'm out there swimming around. I should have took a video of pictures of it because I had the GoPro with me, and I was like, I look up
He's
and
making fun of me because I was in 3 inches of
she
water.
is laying like a flounder, like right against the beach with her face in the water. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm getting my breathing right. I said, all right, okay, let's go over here. Let's go look at the little fishies over here in the rocks. And she just, but she's working. She got a little deeper yesterday, so that's all good.
It's a gradual process for me, but I'll get it. I want to do it. Today, maybe we'll go and I'll go down, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
But we're loving it. You know, it's, you quickly forget about all your responsibilities that you used to have. Of course, the one thing we don't have to deal with is the house. But, you know, trucks and shop full of equipment, you know, that's, you know, we got to pay rent while we're down here. So this is like a get to know the boat, shakedown run.
Making a little list before we put our full throttles forward of the shop.
We have to go back to Jacksonville. There's no, but it's hard. You know, the boat's moving all the time.
We've made us a little list, the projects to make. Like he's got to make his little door for his access panel that he cut in. We're gonna do the exhaust.
Got to build that exhaust pipe. Yep.
Yeah, and then what other little things we were gonna make?
Sell all that equipment as quick as possible. So
lots of scrap runs.
But we're having a good time and getting to know the boat. I downloaded because you know I'm not a sailor. I've sailed Hobie Cats, dinghies, and a lot of windsurfing when I was younger, to the point of miniature wave sailing. I was never comfortable in the open ocean, but I did have a 9-foot epoxy board and would take it in the inlet and sail the opposing swell, you know, but I just never thought I had. And
we've got the head sail on, and
I downloaded.
If it stays like this today, we might get the main on and
that's whatever kind of stack pack was on the boat or whatever that thing is. We gotta lay it out on the deck and figure out how the main goes on, and there's all kinds of
little
stuff I don't know about, you know, but at the end of the day, it's you just study it and take it one day at a time. You know, getting that roller furling on and making sure that was going to be safe, because you didn't get yourself in trouble with one of those things. It's not a hank-on sail where you just clip it on the forestay and raise it up with a halyard tied off.
Yeah, actually did pretty well. It looks nice and it ain't all candy cane-y, but I can't really tell if it is or not, but it's
which is kind of weird when I broke.
And it was windy as hell when we did it.
When I broke the sail out, I was surprised that there wasn't a sacrificial umbrella thing sewn on the edge of the sail.
Yeah, we don't have it, so we'll probably need to check
no big deal. For this little bit of time, it ain't that big a deal, but we get back to Jacksonville, it's coming back down and off the boat and flaked up and taking it to a sail off to have that shit sewn in.
Yeah.
Is it just the sun will just tear it up. So, you know, I figure we're going to be down around these parts. We may go further south. We may stay right here. And then, these last few days, we could have just jib sailed up and down, up Lake Worth and then motored back if we wanted to play around with it. But
there's so much boat traffic.
It's just too shallow, and there's tons of boat traffic. I mean, it's a boat parade.
All day long, from dusk till dawn, and then some.
We saw a
hopping
boat,
little place.
We saw a boat yesterday that Trump probably couldn't even buy. I mean, it was a 250 foot feed ship.
It's pretty.
I don't even know. They were going up Lake Worth, and I thought.
And then they turned around.
Yeah, I'm like, where the hell do they think they're going? Because they can't take it up the intercoastal that way. It's too big. How would you make the corners at Jupiter? You couldn't do it. You could not go through that S-turn at Jupiter. Nope. It's too big. Too big and too rich. But that's our confessions of rookies, because it's been a little bit of a shit show. But,
And I'm sorry I didn't get none of that on film.
I tell you what, the Magma Grill works pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Mama's had.
Last night I had spaghetti. How about this first time I was so hungry. I just heated up the sauce, didn't worry about frying extra hamburger meat or sausage or adding any extras into the spaghetti. Dumped up the sauce, boiled my noodles. He cooked the garlic, made up some garlic bread and put it out there on the grill, and it was the best ever. And I ate like half a loaf of bread. And
because of the Easter weekend and Chase was here, we took the dinghy over and Stacy waited on us, and I took a bag. It's probably a 2-mile round trip to go through the park and up and over the Blue Heron Bridge into Publix, do some shopping.
But he was only gone for about an hour and a half, and if he took a little break going up and down, whatever, the whole time. So an hour there and back ain't too bad. And then shop around.
So while we're here, I think every other day, because you get a little sedentary, even though you're moving on the boat and you're doing some swimming.
So we might do a couple laps over the bridges of a morning.
Yeah, just to get some exercise, because there is no keto on the boat, so I have to mitigate my starches.
Yeah, because he needs the carbs.
Needs the carbs.
He needs the carbs.
I just don't need the weight.
Oh, calories. Carbs.
I need extra calories.
Extra calories.
Stupid.
Because we gotta have some extra calories.
But everything's great. It's a lot. It's a fun. I'll tell you, the biggest thing about it was I should have done it 2-3 years ago. It is hard to disconnect.
Yes, and break away
and
from
go
everyday
this direction. Life. And anybody that's dreaming of it, if you're dreaming of it, do it. Because if you don't, you won't.
And you don't know what tomorrow is.
That's right.
All right, bye guys.
Take care.